Unfortunate news broke out today from spring training, especially if you were a Cincinnati Reds fan. Noelvi Marte, your top prospect, one of the rising stars in your infield, has been suspended 80 games for violating baseball's drug policy. Marte tested positive for boldenone, a banned androgenic anabolic steroid. Unfortunate news for Reds fans and just, I think, fans of baseball alike. It's hard to see a guy that has such a bright future start off with a big misstep like this. And for the Reds and looking around their infield, they'll probably be okay for the time being. This allows Heimer Candelario, the free agent signing, to slide over to third base, and now Christian Encarnacion Strand probably moves into first. Or say you don't necessarily trust Encarnacion Strand a ton, maybe Jonathan India can go play third base. There's a lot of moving parts with the Reds infield. It was crowded to begin with, and it's never fun losing your top prospect to a suspension like this. However, for the long term, I think the Reds will actually end up being okay. It's hard not to miss a potential, 110, 115, even a 120 WRC plus, which is what Noelvi Marte put up in the 35 games that he played for the Reds in the majors last year in 2023. In 35 games and in 123 plate appearances, he popped 3 homers and drove in 15 RBI. Dude was able to make a good impact in the limited action that he saw, with a 316 batting average, a 366 on base percentage, and a 456 slugging. Of course, a lot of the projection models do not have Marte matching nearly any of those totals in 2024, but Fangraphs naturally is a hater. For the Reds, and just looking ahead of what you can expect when Noelvi Marte returns, because he is a top prospect for a reason. He is heralded as one of the best talents in the game of baseball. He was a big part of the trade package that sent Luis Castillo to the Seattle Mariners, and is one of the biggest reason why the Reds were okay with trading away Castillo at that point. Was you're getting back a potential generational player in Noelvi Marte. So yes, losing him in the short term is tough, but long term, this Reds lineup is actually going to be okay, I think. So as I mentioned earlier, you just have Encarnacion Strand go to first base, who's another one of your top prospects in the Red system, and Heimer Candelario moves back over to third base. And yes, you're missing Noelvi Marte entering his age 22 season, a potential to be a very good breakout year for Noelvi Marte in what would still be rookie eligible, but kind of like a second year there. You've still got a lineup that features TJ Friedl, a very good leadoff hitter, Matt McClain, another one of those great rookies from the class the Reds had last year, followed up by Spencer Steer. Heimer Candelario is brought in from the free agent market, who had a great year with the Nationals and the Cubs last year. You've, of course, got Elly De La Cruz, a generational talent it seems, as well. Tyler Stevenson, your catcher, Jake Fraley as your DH listed here on Fangraphs roster resource, and Christian Encarnacion Strand, he's no slouch either. And finishing out with Will Benson, your bench is looking decent as well. Luke Miley catching, Jose Barrero, Jonathan India, and then Stuart Fairchild. There's a lot of moving parts in this infield, but losing Noelvi Marte is not the end of the world, even though it's going to hurt because you can't really see it super well because he doesn't have the full percentiles, but there's a lot of very high red values and a lot of I think the tough blue values here, like the sweet spot percentage and maybe the walk percentage. Could those have balanced out in a, say, full 140 150 games played from Noelvi Marte, specifically in 2024, coming off a very exceptionally good hitting prospect through 35 games? Yes, of course. It's hard to not see the talent that Noelvi Marte has at the plate, and especially in the Great American Small Park, the Reds have a well-known hitter's ballpark. Noelvi Marte was likely set up to have a pretty good year, and with a lot of protection around him as well, filled with guys that are also going to be growing and hopefully taking next steps like Noelvi Marte could have done as well. I don't want to say that Noelvi Marte is very much like this other player I'm about to kind of bring up, but when I saw this suspension come through, I couldn't help but think about Fernando Tatis Jr. And I think that Tatis is definitely on another plane compared to Noelvi Marte, but obviously in 2023, coming off a injury riddled year and obviously the 80 game suspension from Fernando Tatis in 2022, 2023 was pretty good for the San Diego Padres in regards to what they got out of Tatis Jr. and also in a brand new position. That seemingly could have been a big change for Tatis, and it didn't slow him down one bit. Not to say that Noelvi Marte, grew up as a shortstop prospect, is now grading out more of a third baseman. Noelvi Marte was bound to have a very good year. Getting back into game action for Noelvi Marte is going to be big, and with the suspension, it's actually quite interesting because he's able to be at like extended spring training camp and a minor league rehab assignment. So he's not going to be too far away from the baseball action. It is just the Reds will be without his services for 80 games. And like I mentioned, the postseason, should they get there. But I'm still like feeling pretty good about this Reds roster. I didn't even mention their pitching, and they brought in a ton of decent pitching from this past offseason. You know, you think about the top of that rotation with Hunter Green. Okay, you're filling it out with, you've got guys like Nick Martinez available now from free agency. And if Frankie Montas has a bounce back year, that's another great pickup for them as well. Think about Graham Ashcraft having another big year if you get Nick Lodolo back at any point. The Reds, it's not that big of a loss in the grand scheme of things. It is going to be, though, a big problem if Noelvi Marte cannot sort himself out. And it seemed like from the article that Anthony Castrovinci wrote for MLB.com that they're helping him through it. And David Bell, the manager, is saying he's going to be greatly missed. I believe in Noelvi Marte. He's going to get through this. When he does, it's going to be behind him. It's one of those things where it feels like a one and done. But if it's not, that's where the problem starts to kind of incur and domino effect and snowball, because then you're losing a truly generational player to some just easily fixable mistakes. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Are the Reds finished even before the regular season starts? I know it's kind of a bold claim to be on that side of the wagon there, but I'm really not. I have a lot of faith in this Reds team. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this breakdown, and I instilled some confidence back into the Cincinnati Reds faithful. Thanks for watching.